This week, changes from internal military structure to the possibility of a special kind of regiment. Most important thing this week is the Mud March and General Burnside. He stops his march. It's impossible to assault Lee in the winter. If he tried to cross the Rappahannock, he'd be funneled into a killing zone.
To Ambrose C. Burnside, January 8th, 1863.
I understand. General Halleck has sent you a letter of which this is a copy. I approve the letter. I deplore the want of concurrence with you and opinion by your general officers, but I do not see the remedy. Be cautious, and do not understand that the government or country is driving you. I do not yet see how I could profit by changing the command of the Army of the Potomac, and if I did, I should not wish to do it by accepting the resignation of your commission, General Burnside. A. Lincoln.
With this, Burnside realizes that he needs concurrence and officers he can trust. He has McClellan's men. They are beholden to their former commander, and Burnside needs men who will listen to him.
General Orders Number 8, Headquarters, Army of the Potomac, 25th of January, 1863. Number 1. General Joseph Hooker, Major General of Volunteers, Emperor General U.S. Army, having been guilty of unjust and unnecessary criticisms of the action of his superior officers and of the authorities, and having, by the general tone of his conversation, endeavored to create distrust in the minds of officers who have associated with him, and having by omissions and otherwise made reports and statements which were calculated to create incorrect impressions, and for habitually speaking in disparaging terms of other officers, is hereby dismissed from the service of the United States as a man unfit to hold an important commission during a crisis like the present, when so much patience, charity, confidence, consideration, and patriotism are due from every soldier in the field. This order is issued subject to the approval of the President of the United States. Number 2. Brigadier General W.T.H. Brooks, commanding 1st Division, 6th Army Corps, for complaining of the policy of the government and for using language tending to demoralize his command, is, subject to the approval of the President, dismissed from the military service of the United States. Number 3. Brigadier General John Newton, commanding 3rd Division, 6th Army Corps, and Brigadier General John Cochrane, commanding 1st Brigade, 3rd Division, 6th Army Corps, for going to the President of the United States with criticisms upon the plans of their commanding officer, are, subject to the approval of the President, dismissed from the military service of the United States. Number 4. It being evident that the following named officers can be of no further service to this Army, they are hereby relieved from duty and will report in person without delay to the Adjutant General, U.S. Army. Major General W.B. Franklin, commanding Left Grand Division. Major General W.F. Smith, commanding 6th Corps. Brigadier General Samuel D. Sturgis, commanding 2nd Division, 9th Corps. Brigadier General Edward Farrow, commanding 2nd Brigade, 2nd Division, 9th Army Corps. Brigadier General John Cochrane, commanding 1st Brigade, 3rd Division, 6th Corps. Lieutenant Colonel J.H. Taylor, Assistant Adjutant General, Right Grand Division.
That leaves only Major General Edwin Sumner in charge. A friend to everyone, apparently. This order forces Lincoln to choose between Burnside and a huge portion of the army. It's not approved, obviously. The head of the army can be replaced. Its body is what has allowed it to survive. General Orders Number 20, Washington, D.C., January 25th, 1863. Number 1. The President of the United States has directed, first, that Major General A.E. Burnside, at his own request, be relieved from the command of the Army of the Potomac. Second, that Major General E.V. Sumner, at his own request, be relieved from duty in the Army of the Potomac. Third, that Major General W.B. Franklin be relieved from duty in the Army of the Potomac. Fourth, that Major General J. Hooker be assigned to the command of the Army of the Potomac. Number 2. The officers relieved as above will report in person to the Adjutant General of the Army, by order of the Secretary of War, E.D. Townsend, Assistant Adjutant General. Major General Joseph Hooker is now in charge, and with that it's time to reform the Army. Major General Daniel Butterfield is moved from his 5th Corps command to the Chief of Staff. Which brings us to the 23rd. President Abraham Lincoln approves the plan for Grant's Canal to bypass Vicksburg's Bend. On the 28th, Captain Prime is put in charge of digging that canal. On the 26th, Secretary of War Edwin Stanton speaks with the governor of Massachusetts. The state of Massachusetts is a hotbed of abolition activity, and thus the perfect place to start raising regiments for the United States colored troops. Stanton tells Governor John A. Andrews to start raising a unit.
It may include persons of African descent organized into special corps.
On the 27th, we head to Georgia for a naval battle. The Confederates hold Fort McAllister. This fort overlooks the entrance to the great Ogeechee River, and this prevents the Union from breaching the valuable supply artery. This just won't do for Rear Admiral Samuel F. Dupont. And whatever. who dispatches 4 ships to destroy the fort. The USS Montauk comes up with these. An ironclad of the Pesek class, God, really, has 2 cannons, one 11-inch Dahlgren, come up, and one 15-inch Dahlgren, with 3 gunboats. The USS Montauk opens fire on the fort, and it also receives gunfire. The battle ends with nothing really happening. All damage is either inconsequential or repaired that very night. Somewhere around here. To the final day of the week, on the 29th in the Washington Territory at Bear River. Never mind. U.S. and Native forces go head-to-head, or more accurately, it's a massacre. The Shoshone are a Native American group with many branches, and one of its tribes are led by Bear Hunter. Bear Hunter has caused problems for the Union in the past, with minor raids and skirmishing, meaning he has signed his death warrant. Colonel Patrick Connor controls the District of Utah and the 3rd California Infantry Regiment. Unsurprisingly, a lot of U.S. forces are elsewhere right now. With this consolidated power, he has the authority to destroy Bear Hunter, and probably the men to do it with. Earlier, he had sent out a small force of 80 men to push the Shoshone into a position, while his main force of 420 men will smash them to pieces. While Connor sees no difference between Native American and another one, the colonists in the area do. Look like there's something up on the ridge up there. Look like a cloud. Maybe it is a steam come from a horse. Maybe that's them soldiers they were talking about. On the 28th, after a successful trade, 3 Shoshone are giving grain, and just as their horses are being loaded, U.S. soldiers appear. These 3 men flee back to camp. Bear Hunter wants a negotiated settlement, an understanding, possibly a trade of land for food. But he knows there's a very real possibility of battle. He has his men, and women and children dig rifle pits, and use birchwood to further entrench their position. He might have many warriors among his camp, but their weapons are ancient, ammunition low. There's a reason why so far there has only been really raids. A new treaty would be best for everyone involved. For Colonel Connor, a treaty has no glory in it. At 6 a.m., the 2nd California Volunteer Cavalry arrives at the scene of battle and waits, securing a path for the rest of the U.S. forces to arrive. Not a shot has been fired. The 2 sides just look at each other. Soon Connor arrives and forms a battle line. Colonel Connor charges, and despite the ragged state of Bear Hunter's men, the Shoshone repulse the assault. For 2 hours, the sides duel at long range. This is just playtime for Colonel Connor's secret detachment to flank and encircle the Shoshone when they trap the beleaguered families into their now village of death. As ammunition runs low for the Native Americans, the massacre begins in full force. Colonel Connor lost 14 killed and 49 wounded. 7 of those wounded would soon die. The Shoshone lost 250 dead and 70 lodges destroyed. According to Connor, some claim 500 dead. No matter the number, the message is clear. For any Native Americans in the area, they better kiss his ring or kiss their land away. Then there is Sickles. He gets what he deserves. The 3rd Corps. Fuck yeah! Woo! 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 Yes! Yes! Woo! Woo! Oh, fudge. Yes! That's where the week ends, with the massacre and a change of command. Let's look at Major General Joseph Hooker, shall we? A West Point grad who fought in the Second Seminole War. Thanks for Florida. And won great fame and promotions during the Mexican-American War. He served as an able administrator. During the Civil War, he saw action at the Battle of Williamsburg, a highlight of his career. He would see very little action during the 7 Days Battle, which is probably for the best. But he once again proved himself at Antietam, and he became a Grand Divisional Commander in time for Fredericksburg. And here he must have moved away from his successes as a general and into his personality. He is a hothead, which we will see more of next week. Yeah, Sickles in charge. Yeah! Hello, it's the Sire Civil War Week by Week team here. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. I'm glad to now have finished cleaning up my, well, admittedly inability to keep track of things, with finally General Order number 11 being done with. I would like to thank everyone who has stayed with me this entire time, my 4 patrons whose names you already saw. They really are the people who, well, help keep this thing going. You should now be seeing a place to subscribe, a place to watch a single video, or a place to watch a playlist. I recommend clicking on one of the 3s, or if you're one of the select few, all 3. I hope to see you next week.